So the bond sale has been pulled, and everyone is left wondering just how dire this particular letter, this whistleblower the content must be to have to pull a bond market activity like that.
Exactly. It's really unusual to see a bond being pulled like this. I can think of one other instance that happened maybe three-ish years ago. It was a company called GoGo. They lost a contract, had to pull a bond sale. But really, this does not happen very often. And certainly investors right now are treating this materially. You saw the stock down about 15% today, bonds off, anywhere from 2 to 4 points. People are worried, and it's surprising that the company did not disclose anything else.
Well, and that's the part of it that really gets me wondering. If they're not going to say anything more than there is a whistleblower letter, but it's going to prompt them to take this drastic action, people are going to assume the worst.
Exactly, and that's something that I think is really tricky. Obviously, you don't want to scare off bondholders, set yourself up for a lawsuit by not disclosing enough, but at the same time, when you just say there is a letter out there, the market doesn't really know how to treat it. So that's kind of what we're seeing today, I think.
Technically speaking, it has to be meaningful enough, I suppose what they're saying is, to affect an investor's ability to assess merit and risk. So how much, therefore, is this an issue for Mattel in terms of its own covering its debt going forward? Because the whole point of this bond market activity, I think it was a private placement, right, was to be able to pay down debt that was due in 2020.
Yeah, so Mattel is a junk-rated company. They've had some struggles over the years, just kind of, Barbies and Hot Wheels maybe not being the hottest toys anymore. They were trying to refinance a bond due next year. It was about $250 million. In our world, that's not a huge amount of money. But they say they're going to come back and try to refinance this bond later this year. That being said, in cases like this, you normally end up having to pay up a little bit more. This was a 6% bond, so maybe if they come back, they might have to pay 6.5%. 7, something like that. A little bit extra for investors for their trouble.
So I know that you mentioned analysts said that Jefferies, the analyst there, is saying that it's possibly material, but is anyone else speculating anything else or giving any kind of assessment on what this could mean and how this impacts Mattel down the road?
I think people are sort of cautious, maybe a little bit optimistic, certainly saying, look, this does appear to be a big deal because, they felt they needed to disclose this in the first place. That being said, when it comes to refinancing your debt, it's not like you have a massive maturity wall coming. Your equity gets whacked, that's not great, but, Toymaker has been doing very well this year, and there are signs that their turnaround is really working, so maybe it's just a blip.